Chris Bowling,
Chris Buyer.
Brad Johnson.
welcome.
Here we are again. Bottom line Thursday.
Bottom line Thursday.
Hello there.
Brad, what's the next topic?
So we're in August. This should still air in August, right? So
Maybe.
hopefully. Either way, early indicators of what should we expect for renewal, right? I think
Yes.
that's in everyone's mind right around now. Summer vacations finishing up. Have to get back into work mode, and our season is, we quote unquote, the busy season. Most groups have that January 1st. So you want me to share with you just what we're seeing out there in the national front? Would that be of interest?
I think let's start with that because everybody wants to know what's going to be considered average this year, and am I better or worse?
Yeah. So PricewaterhouseCoopers does a study each year, their trend study, very credible. I think they try to survey employers that collectively have 100 million members. So that's quite a few. They're coming up with about a 7% cost increase for trend for this next year. Last year was 6%. So we're again kind of foreshadowing seeing a little uptick again on some things. Another thing I'll share with you too, and Chris Buyer and I were at a seminar recently by United Healthcare, and they were talking about, and we've talked about that here before as well, the COVID pandemic tended to stall out a lot of those outpatient procedures that could wait. Most of them could wait, not all.
Got the sore shoulder, sore knee. I'm just going to hold off because it's too difficult to get stuff scheduled.
Yeah, so they're starting to see that tick up. And what's interesting, they shared that on an earnings call. And so this is factual. They had to share this stuff due to SEC regs. What do you see out there? And they shared that, and their stock dropped. And then a lot of this is orthopedic procedures, but here's the comical part before we get to the next study I'll share. The ones that went up, though, were the device manufacturers, like for orthopedic devices, like Stryker and Medtronic, their stock rose. So just pay close attention to these terms. I don't want to mess up anyone's 401k portfolio by saying certain things, but that happened.
But it is interesting that they're already preparing for that higher utilization across their entire book. And it's, it wasn't just that costs are going up, it's frequency of these procedures is going up and cost is going up. So I think that's, if they're looking at that and they're having to share that on a shareholder call, you know that it's been reviewed and it's coming.
And I think frequency of the two is probably the big one. They're just happening more. They're pent up demand type of thing. Last one I'll share, and I'll talk about this every year. I remember we talked about it last year on this webcast. The CalPERS. So that's the California Public Employers Retirement System Trust that they have. They cover a bunch of California state workers. So think government employees, think schools, public agencies. 1.5 million members. It's one of the largest individual health plans in the country when I think about just a health plan covering folks. And so their average increase is 11%. And that's huge for 1.5 million members. Last year it was just about 7. And last year was
that was one of our first conversations on Bottom Line Thursday. Yes.
Yeah. And, they have in California, a little envious, they have Kaiser Permanente. Not sure if you guys are familiar with them. So very controlled managed care product. And even with that being one of the top products people buy, like that plan went up. One of their plans, they've got a variety, but one of them went up 13% on that chassis. So just because you've got all the levers checked to manage, unnecessary costs, unnecessary spending, that type of thing, it doesn't guarantee you a good renewal.
We say it all the time. You can't hide from your claims, right? I mean, you can pull every lever out there to control them, but it could take one person to blow up your plan. And it's one high cost drug. It's a couple high cost claimants. I just, how much longer can employers afford those type of increases? Nothing's going up. Their profit's not going up 11% a year. It's something has to change, and I think we all are aware of that. We're all working very hard, to try to mitigate those type of increases. We were talking before.
We just talked about.
I mean, we've had some come in flat. I've got one at 19% right now going up. We're trying to, get that to come down, Brad. you were talking about some pretty big high reinsurance renewals coming in.
Yeah, I had one at 50%. It hit the cap. It would have been higher if it didn't have a cap on it, and they earned it. They paid less premium than they got back in claims, but still, yeah, you're right. How long can that go on? And then you worry, does it at some point affect the amount of workers a company hires? You know, if AI or you pick the automation comes into play, you don't have to pay the robot health benefits. And so that is a concern, you know, beyond just our world of healthcare, our economy, our jobs, that type of thing too.
Well, it feels like we get a handle on one aspect of cost and then another one hits. I mean, Chris, this morning talking with a client, they've seen, almost a 50% reduction in their pharmacy cost, but their medical claims are up 30%. And it was great. We're continuing to see wins on pharmacy, but that's, 25% of their total spend, but they've had more and more surgeries, more and more procedures. It's just one thing's fixed and then the other one goes awry.
Good to know that our stories validate, Brad, exactly what you put in your newsletter. I mean, we're seeing it. So
yeah,
it's not like this is only on one part of the country. It's happening all across the country.
Yep, I would agree. Totally.
Thank you again for sharing, Brad. Good stuff.
You're welcome.
Enjoy.
Good luck to everybody on the renewals by the time they get this.
Thanks again.
Perfect.
See you.
All right. See
Thanks,
ya.
Brad.
Bye.
Bye-bye.